Happy Sabbath, everyone. Hey, good to see all of you guys here. It's been, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks since we've been actually in this room. Can you turn on the light as well? It's kind of dark in here. Nice. I can see all your faces. Good. Mic isn't working right now, so it's okay. You guys can still hear my voice, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of years ago, I gave a sermon about the difference between Santa and Grinch. Any of you guys remember? It's okay, I don't really remember either. But I told you guys 2 years ago why I'm not really a Santa, but I'm really a Grinch during Christmas season. And the reason is because I feel like Christmas, it has become so commercialized. It's not really about Jesus. And so I was kind of like, I really don't like Christmas. I think Christmas is a waste of time. Why even give gifts? It's not even about it. All of these kind of things. My stance hasn't really changed, but you might think, oh, but Christmas is such a great season. You should be very happy with that. But I'm not the only one who thinks that way. So there's this great American thinker, Chris Rock. He's really a savant and a philosopher. This is what he says.
Materialistic person to roam the earth. No blame on Jesus. Jesus kept a low profile, and we turned his birthday into the most materialistic day up there. Matter of fact, we have the Jesus birthday season. It's a whole season of materialism. Then at the end of the Jesus birthday season, we have the nerve to have an economist come on TV and tell you how horrible the Jesus birthday season was this year. Oh, we had a horrible Jesus' birthday this year. Hopefully business will pick up by this time.
Okay, can we turn on the light? That's the end of the video. Okay. Turn on the light. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not the only one who thinks the same way, right? So even comedians, right, who are totally secular, he does not believe in Jesus, but still he realizes we got Christmas really, really mixed up. But at the same time, like I said, I've been a Grinch for a very, very long time, but I'm trying to actually warm up to this day, Christmas, because I realize, yes, it has become secular, it has become commercialized, we have lost Jesus amidst Christmas, and yet I feel like it's a great time to actually talk about Jesus, because if you think about it, it's only the time of the year where we could actually talk about Christmas, where we could talk about Jesus without people like frowning. Like for example, today we're going to go caroling after potluck today, and we're going to go and we're going to sing songs about Jesus, and they're going to be totally fine with it. No one's going to be like, hey, get that religion out of here, right? It's actually one of those days, Christmas is one of those days we could actually talk about Jesus, and it's totally okay. Where we could talk about Jesus coming on this earth and all of these things, and it's totally fine. There's actually songs blasting about Jesus, and it's totally fine. So we're going to start a mini-series. It's going to be called Searching for Christ in Christmas. Because even though, yes, this world has taken it, and we have commercialized it, okay, it has made, it's just another holiday, and yet, I still feel like we can redeem Christ, or we can find Jesus amidst all of the different things that's going on. So, if you're here for the first week, this is your first time here, then you came at a really good time, because we're starting a new series, and so you haven't really missed out on anything. I'm going to be reading from Isaiah chapter 8. So if you guys can turn your Bible, I'm going to be skipping around a lot as well. So if you guys can go to Isaiah chapter 8. Verse 21 to 22, 19 to 22, chapter 9, 2 and 6. Oh, I wrote it twice. We're going to read it from chapter 8, verse 19 through 22. Verse 19. And when they say to you, inquire of the mediums and the necromancers who chirp and mutter, should not a people acquire of their God? Should they acquire of the dead on behalf of the living? To the teaching and to the testimony. If they will not speak according to this word, it is because they have no dawn. They will pass through the land, greatly distressed and hungry. And when they are hungry, they will be enraged, and will speak contemptuously against their king and their God, and turn their faces upward. And they will look to the earth, and behold, distress and darkness, the gloom of anguish, and they will be thrust into thick darkness. Chapter 9. The people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwell in the land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. Verse 6. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. This is the word of God. Now, whenever you think of Christmas, most of you guys are probably thinking Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, anywhere in those Gospels. So you might think, oh, Pastor, it's kind of weird that you're actually talking about Christmas based on Old Testament, where everything is old and, well, why are you talking about Christmas from there? But we see that chapter 8 and chapter 9 is actually a prophecy about Christmas, about Jesus' coming. And so it's really important because Matthew 4, we're going to talk about later, and Luke and Mark, they all go back to these verses. And so it's really important for us to know the context behind Jesus' coming, right? Jesus actually becoming a baby. I have a question for you guys before we go into this a little bit further. What's your favorite thing about Christmas? Think about it. You don't have to shout it out loud. But what is your favorite thing about Christmas? There was an article that I read pretty recently. It's by Hayden Johnson. She was writing for Odyssey magazine. And these are her top favorite things. And maybe some of you guys could resonate with this. She said this. Number 1, she said, one of my favorite things about Christmas is the Christmas trees and all of the other decorations. And as you guys can see, our church has been decorated very, very well. Thank you, Eunice. Number 2, the non-stop Christmas music. So some of you guys, that might be your least favorite thing. Number 3, holiday parties and events. Number 4, favorite thing about Christmas, watching Christmas movies. Home Alone. And last one, she said, the overall feeling of joy and love. Right? If you look at Christmas, you go around, everybody seems happier, more joyful, there's a lot of lights. She continues on, she says, everybody just seems to be in a better mood, filled with the happiness of the holiday season. So we see light, we see bling bling, and we can't help but become more joyful in this season. But yet, we see a contrast in Isaiah chapter 8. Right? Isaiah chapter 8 doesn't describe this world that is full of joy and happiness. But what does it say? It actually says they are in great distress. Distress and darkness. There is gloom. There is anguish. people are walking in darkness. It doesn't describe Christmas as this joyful, 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 everything is okay, everything is fine. Instead, it says, no. People are distressed. People are sad. People are depressed. People are unhappy. So you might go, Pastor, come on. It's Christmas, come on. It should be a joyful time. Why so negative? The reality is, we have to understand, okay, even though most of our lives, I would say, we have it pretty good for the most part, we live in a very, very dark world. And it's really easy for us because most of us, we have a nice middle-class family. Some of us have fences. And we live with other rich people. And so it's really, really easy, unless you listen to the news a lot, to think that the world that I live in, it's pretty good. So I looked at the news this week. And I'm going to tell you guys just one event from every single day this week that happened. And this was the headline. Sunday. 2 dead in murder-suicide. So one person killed the other person, and that person committed suicide as well. Monday, suspect in custody after office-involved shooting. So there was police shooting, and because of that, person went to jail. Tuesday, teenager girl shot. By the way, she was shot, but she did go to the hospital and she is okay. But she was shot behind Best Buys. And she wasn't even actually the target. Wednesday, woman found dead after missing for 5 days. Thursday, 2 thieves. They distract shoppers and steal their wallet. So one person comes up to them, asks them about Christmas recipes. Oh, that's how you make it? By the way, it's 2 ladies. One lady, she's like distracting the other lady, and then the other girl goes behind it and takes their wallet. Friday, this is yesterday, real estate broker has been buying homes and helping Chinese crime organizations. Okay, sounds kind of like, it's like fake news, but they're growing like illegal pot, and drugs there so that they can support the Chinese crime organization. Okay, so what I didn't tell you is, yes, once again, we live in a very, very dark world, but all of these things actually happen within Sacramento County. Okay, Sunday, 2 dead in murder case that happened in Sacramento City. Monday, that happened actually 5 minutes from where I live, Natomas. Number 3, teenager girl shot behind Best Buys. That was in Arden. Wednesday, woman found dead after missing for 5 days. She was actually found around Reno, but she's from Roseville. Thursday, 2 thieves. That happened also in Sacramento. Friday, the drug dealers, they're in Elk Grove. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, not only do we live in a dark world, we live in a dark city. Okay, the cities that you live in are not as safe as you think. The people that you surround yourself with, you people you see, are not as angelic as they come across to be. Again, Christmas, how we perceive it, joyful, awesome time. But what Isaiah says is actually, this world that we live in is a very, very dark place. I was on vacation last week in Southern California, so I really miss you guys. I can't go back there anymore, but I got a phone call while I was trying to relax. I talked for probably about an hour with this guy. On the outside, literally everything looks like it's totally fine. Has a girlfriend, has a good job, doing a really good job. But he's saying, Pastor, I'm so depressed. I'm thinking about committing suicide. We live in a world where there's a lot of darkness. So Isaiah, he says, number one, the first thing is, yes, Christmas, there's lights, there's joy, happiness. But first, we have to first understand that we live in a very, very dark place. And a lot of you guys inside in this room are struggling. Even though you think, deep down inside, you think it's fine, everything is fine. But deep down inside, you feel so empty and so lonely. That's the first thing. Second thing Isaiah says is, yes, we live in a dark world. And number two is that there are no answers in this world. What Isaiah actually says is, there are a lot of people who says, I'm going to ask the mediums, consult the spirits. They will look to the earth to get rid of this darkness, to get out of this darkness. So what that tells us is, these people are looking for experts, to look for psychologists. How can I get rid of my depression, my loneliness? I will consult the earth. I will look at the earth. Times Magazine. This was an article from Times Magazine, and this is what he says. He says, the meaning of Christmas is that love will triumph, and we will be able to put together a world of unity and peace. It's this idea that we have the answer. We have the light. We have the resources. So we need to look at the state, the market, science, technology. That will get rid of darkness and evil once and for all. So once again, Isaiah, he says, we live in a dark world, and we're looking desperately to try to see how we can find a cure for this dark world that we live in, or this dark city that we live in, or even the darkness that we see in ourselves. And the answer is, we have it within ourselves. We are the light. We just need to come together and just show a little bit more love. We have the answer. The problem is, when historians hear these kind of things, they laugh at these things. They say, oh, you naive fools. Don't you know history? Do you guys know, I think I talked about this before, do you guys know, despite our optimism, despite thinking science will resolve everything, technology will make us better, those ancient people back in the past, they're so ignorant, they're so savages, but now, us, we are so developed. We're so much smarter. We can pull it together. Historians, they laugh at that. Why? This is what historians say. They say that more people have been killed in the 20th century than all the 19th centuries combined. One more time. Historians, they say, we have killed more people 20th century alone than all 19 centuries combined. They say China, Russia, they have killed 60 million apiece. That is without World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Iraq War, Gulf War, none of these wars combined. We have killed more in the 20th century, where we said, we have the answer. It's not God anymore. We have the answer. We have killed more people than all other centuries combined. So this idea that we're getting better, that we have the solution, historians laugh at them. Because we are not the answer. President Václav Havel, very difficult to say. Most of you guys probably don't know him, but he's the first president of Czech Republic after communism and all the things that happened in Nazi. After he experienced that, he said this. He concluded that neither technology, nor the state, nor the market could save us from nuclear conflict, ethnic violence, or environmental degradation. Okay? Again, he's someone who's able to actually say this. Why? Because he has gone through socialism, he has gone through capitalism, he has gone through communism, he has gone through this whole Nazism. He went through all of these different political systems, and he says none of these things are working. He says this, pursuit of the good life will not help humanity save itself, nor is democracy alone enough. A turning to and seeking of God is needed. The human race constantly forgets that he is not God. In fact, he goes further. He says this, the belief that we can save ourselves, or this political system or ideology can fix our human problems, has not only led us more into darkness. So President Havel, he agrees with the historians. He says, the more that we try, the more darkness that we actually bring onto this world. This is the world that we live in. And this is what Isaiah confirms. We live in a dark world. Why? Because we ourselves, we see darkness within us. And the problem is, like Isaiah, he says, we have tried and tried to solve this darkness through politics, through science, through technology, through ideologies, through philosophies. But the more we try, the darker it seems to become. Again, we're on the good end. We're on the rich end. So we don't get to see this. But for majority of this world, they are well aware that they live in a dark, dark world. Now, I don't want to make you more depressed, but one more. One more. Atheist philosopher Bertrand Russell. This is what he says. Again, we looked at a historian, we looked at a politician, now we need to look at a philosopher. He's atheist, and so he says this, this world, he's describing this world, such, in outline, but even more purposeless, even more void of meaning, is the world the science presents in our belief. So he says, when we look at science, we see actually that it gives us more degradation and more hopelessness. This is what science tells us about who we are. That the man is the product of which that causes no provision of the end which they are achieving. Basically, that we're just random beings here. That his origin, his growth, his hopes, his fears, his loves, his belief are but the outcome of accidental collection of atoms. That no fire, no heroism, no intensity of thought, love, feeling can preserve an individual life beyond the grave. That all the labors, all the devotions, all the inspirations, all the noonday brightness of human genius are destined to extinction in the vast death of the solar system, and that the whole temple of man's achievement must inevitably be buried beneath the debris of universe in ruins. In other words, he's saying, if science is telling us that we're just random, accidental beings who are in this world and who will die, everything that we do, even love, even great achievements, becomes absolutely nothing. So once again, we live in a dark world, and we see darkness found within us. And we try to look for solutions. We try to figure it out through technology, through politics, through science. But again, it doesn't get any better. It only becomes worse. Once again, a lot of you guys are thinking, Pastor, most depressing sermon ever, Christmas, lights. You have to understand, you only truly, truly understand the meaning of Christmas if you understand how dark this world really is. Because Christmas is one of the most unsentimental, realistic view of this world. Okay? It's not this idealism where we say, hey, let's all gather together, let's all unite together in love, and let's make this world better. Because that's not what Christmas is telling us. Nor is it telling us that there is darkness and we just need to live in darkness. Or is it so hopeless that we just need to have no hope at all? What Christmas really tells us is we live in a really, really dark world, and this is why we need a light. Not light within us, because within us, there's only darkness. We need to find light from Jesus. And this is how he summarizes it for us. Actually, James, let me show them the summary first. This is why Isaiah really summarizes this whole message for us of Christmas. He says, the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in the land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. This is what Christmas is all about. Christmas is not all about everybody happy, happy, happy. And Jesus came, we're more happy, happy, happy. No, that's not Christmas. Christmas is we live in a really, really, really dark world. And all of us has contributed in that darkness. But when it seems like all hope is gone, when we when we used every single resources and everything has failed, then we realize this great light has come. That Jesus became a human being. Now, you guys see these Christmas lights. And it's very, very pretty. But you see, we're not really able to appreciate these lights. It's because we have so much other light. That these lights, just nice decorations. But what Isaiah really is trying to say is this. What he's trying to really say is we live in a dark world where world that we live in. Okay? Complete darkness. Complete darkness. And then, when you see, yes. When you see light, then you start to appreciate the light so much more. Why? Because you are in darkness. Yeah, if you could turn it on for us, James. This is what Christmas is about. It's not telling you your life is so good, you just need to make it better by putting Jesus. No, the Christmas story is we're living in darkness and there is no hope. Now, some of you guys who are younger, okay, you might think, no, Pastor, you're just being pessimistic. But people who are older, hopefully, understand. If you live in this world long enough, and you see how much disappointment people bring onto you, that your family brings onto you, that your loved one brings onto you, how money is not the answer, how even family is not the answer, how career is not the answer to your life, and again, you start to appreciate Christmas. That's what Christmas is all about. Now, let's end with this verse. For to us a child is born, to us son is given. This is very, very important. Because what it does not say is that the light or the sun comes within, is brought from this earth. But what it does say is that the child or the son, or Jesus, this baby, is given. Why is this important? Because it tells us that Jesus is a gift. And with all gift, it can only be yours if you're willing to receive it. Once again, this is not something it is earned. It is something that is given. Which means you must receive it. But for many of us, this is very, very difficult. For us, a lot of us, we rather earn it. Okay, we rather work for it. We rather say, there was a problem, I solved it. But it does not say this. Isaiah doesn't say, you earn it, but it's something that you receive. Now, you might say, Pastor, what are you talking about? Everybody loves receiving gift. That's why I love Christmas. I love gifts. But what we don't realize is there are only certain gifts that we like, and there are certain gifts that we actually do not like. For example, let's say I gave you a gift, and you open it up. You're so excited, you open it up, and it's a dieting book. Okay? Or, I give you another book, and it says, How to Not Dress Like You're in the 60s. Or, the book says, Overcoming Selfishness. 101 non-arrogant ways to do it. Now, all of you guys are laughing. Why? Because when you actually open the book and you actually say, oh, thank you so much, what are you doing? You're actually admitting to yourself that you're fat. You're admitting to yourself that you dress like you're still in your 60s. You're admitting to yourself that you're selfish. So for most of us, when we hear this idea that Son is given to you, first we go, that's great. But when the Son starts talking and starts telling you of all the sins and of all the flaws that you have, the smiles start fading away. You're not willing to admit that you have flaws. Because do you know what you're doing? When you receive the Son, what you are essentially telling yourself is that you are so lost that you need a Savior. That you have tried everything and nothing has worked. That you are so weak and flawed and selfish and arrogant that you need someone else to save you. That you are not someone that you can just do it, where you could just pull yourself up and be a morally good person. No. Receiving this gift, you have to admit that you can't do anything without God. That you have no solution to this darkness that you see in this world and that you see within yourself. That things are really, really bad and we can't heal or save ourselves. To accept the true Christmas gift, you have to admit that you're a sinner and that you need to be saved by grace. And you need to give up control of your life. And that is descending lower than any of us are really willing to go. A lot of us, we don't want to go down that far. We're willing to say, I need some Jesus. We're not willing to say, no, everything that I do, it's only going to cause more darkness. And so receiving Jesus, receiving this gift, it might seem great at first, but when you open it up, you're actually going to see that it's going to hurt your pride, that it's going to be one of the most painful gifts that you've ever received. Are you willing? Are you willing to receive this gift? This gift that will show you how dark this world is. This gift that will show you deep down inside what you're really made of. To better put it, actually, you're not going to have a choice. Okay? One day or another, okay, you're going to come face to face with that. Some of you guys, you come face to face with that every single day. And you hate what you see inside of yourself. Some of you guys, you don't see that. Because maybe you're still young, and you go, I have the whole future ahead of me. I just need this, and my life is going to be perfect. But one day, you will be crushed. One day, you will get sick. One day, you're going to look at the mirror, and you're going to see a lot of white hairs. And you're going to realize you're not as pretty, you're not as handsome, you're not as strong as you think you are. You're going to go to funerals and you're going to realize, wow, people actually die. And it's going to shake you. And you're going to be devastated. During that time, I urge you to look at the light. There is no light within us. There is no light in any political system or any technology or any science or any human being. This light can only come from Jesus. So, wherever you're at in your spiritual journey, understand that you will come to a period of life where it will be dark. May you be humbled enough to see reality as it is and to receive this light, this gift that God has given to you. Let's go into a time of reflection. And one more thing is, when you guys go home, I know a lot of you guys, the decoration, when you're driving at night and you see Christmas lights, don't just say, oh, this is so pretty, but see what this world would look like without any of these lights. And appreciate the gift that Jesus has given to us. Let's go into time of reflection.